Welcome, everybody, to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. We have a special guest we'll be introducing you to shortly. And if I say her name right now, you're going to think I'm being mean, but it's the handle she has given herself. And we'll introduce you to Amy in just a moment. Fat to Fit Amy P is what she goes by on Instagram. And you're going to meet her and hear her story. It's so inspiring.
Yes.
But first of all, how was your weekend, Christine? I know you did a little girl time.
Well,
couples time.
It was actually couples time. And I don't do resolutions. We've talked about this before because I don't believe they last past, a few weeks. So my intention was to reconnect with old friends. And so we went and met two other couples that we haven't seen in probably 20 years.
Nice.
And had the absolute best time.
So you went out of town for this. You went to the Panhandle.
Yes. And it was so relaxing and fun catching up. And it was like no time had passed. So I highly recommend, if you have any intentions, maybe trying at least one thing. I'm just so glad I actually finally did it. We had been talking about this for years and finally did it. So well worth it. Great seeing old friends, and but back and ready to talk about quite a few things.
We have a lot to talk about.
And one thing I am going to mention, while I was off having cocktails, you were running a race and came in second, which to me, I'd be embarrassing the first place person because I'd be running around going, I came in second. But anyway, I admire you. Well, I think that's amazing.
Thank you. It's an
bravo.
Age group second. So we're not talking about me out there beating all of the other women in this. I beat the women in the fit. I came in second. I didn't beat all the women. I came in second place in my age group, which is 55 to 59. I'm sorry. Yeah. 55 to 59 is the age group I'm in. So at the tender age of 57, I like to say I beat some 55-year-olds.
Right. Yeah.
It was a half marathon. There was also a marathon, and it's a local race that is actually nationally acclaimed. It's a marathon for breast cancer, the cure, the awareness, the whole deal. And it's a very inspiring and exciting event. So I was really happy to once again participate in that.
And that just tells you what you do on the weekends and what I'm doing.
Very different, very different weekends, but that's okay. That's what makes this the most the most fun. One thing I came across before we bring Amy on, I wanted to share this with you because I love it so much. An article I read today, and I found out that you also saw this, that folks in their 20s have decided that the hot new bedtime is 9 p.m. and they call it old person's bedtime. Old person's bedtime, 9 p.m. They're starting to recognize that sleep actually makes you feel better.
Wow, what a concept.
I wonder what other things that we have been saying and beating our drum to that they're going to pick up.
I went to bed last night at 9:00. So I have to say I've known this little secret for a very, very long time. And I think sleep helps your body recuperate. Whether you've been traveling, whether you're sick, whether you work out, whatever it is, sleep helps your body go into a different phase so you can just relax, catch up on your sleep, and you feel so much better the next morning.
There are so many problems that seem so earth-shattering the night before a good night's sleep. And then the next day, everything sorts itself out, or you are better prepared to sort it out. So I think that it's great that they are learning.
They're learning our old people's secrets.
Yes, exactly. We'll allow it. Let's bring in our guest right now. You've actually heard her voice on our podcast before when she called in with a story. This is Amy Pattison, and Amy is a school teacher. She is incredibly fit to look at, and you'll be able to go over to our social media and see her. But it's funny when someone says to you, oh, call me Fat to Fit Amy P. That's my Instagram name. The first thing you think is, I can't refer to you as fat. How can I possibly do that? So welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, Amy.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you. And you've been listening for a long time, and we appreciate you for that. You called in one day. We asked the question, what is something that you had done in your 50s that you really never thought you would do? And you said that you lost how much weight?
I lost 70 pounds.
70 pounds.
Yeah. And got in the best shape of my life. And I just never would have expected it.
So why is it okay for you to call yourself fat to fit Amy? Because I think that there are some words that are supposed to be trigger. We talk about this all the time, like what we're allowed to say anymore.
Yeah. I think it's important for me to, well, first of all, what I ended up doing when I was 70 pounds heavier was I needed to lose fat. There's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. And the problem with chronic disease and going in as you get older and everything is that you have fat. And so if you're overweight, you need to get rid of fat. And I think growing up as a child, I grew up in a house that everyone was pretty much overweight and we just didn't eat well, but we weren't allowed to say the word fat, which I think just bred into a denial. Like when you're really heavy, you can blame it on your age. You can blame it on your hormones. You can blame it on everything and deny what it really is. And for me to get healthy, I had to take some responsibility in accepting that I was the reason that I was 70 pounds overweight. And I had to call it what it is. I refuse to now live in a pretend world. I'm very authentic about it. I'm not ashamed of it. Fat is actually something that protects your body. It takes all the excess stuff that we put into our bodies, the toxins and everything, and it stores it away from your organs. So fat is been vilified, but ultimately your body is creating a safe haven for you to not destroy your organs with the fat, but the excess is going to do damage long term. So I just call it what it is, and that is what it is. So I don't make any apologies for that either. So when I was fat, I had a life as Fat Amy for years, 15 years, and now I refer to myself as Fit Amy, which I'm equally as proud of, but I don't want to forget Fat Amy. I don't want to forget where I was because I'm not going back there.
Okay.
Gosh, I love this. So fascinating.
And that's going to get to a question that I know Christine has, which is about sustainability. But let's talk first about what this conversation is not going to be. And it is not going to be to shame anybody. It is not going to be to make anyone feel like they have to go out and start deadlifting hundreds of pounds. Correct. Or
for sure, because we know I'm not doing that.
Right. So we want everyone to understand that what we're doing here is we're taking something that is an important health aspect and explaining it in ways that everybody, no matter where you are, you can at least get something from this conversation. So as I mentioned, if somebody were to see you right now, you've got these lovely rounded shoulders, gorgeous arms, chiseled.
Thank you.
And that is from very hard work, but it's the overall health benefits that you strive for when you say we should be doing what? Eating a certain way, exercising a certain way. Yes. So how does it happen?
Well, and I will say that when I started this journey, I really did. Especially women in their 50s we're so brainwashed by diet culture. We've been on all the diets. We've tried them all, and they're all based on calorie restriction. And ultimately that just doesn't work. But we're all manipulated. You go on a diet to lose weight, and we've all done it successfully because you've restricted your calories. But then you come off the diet and you've changed no habits, and you haven't improved anything over the quality of food that you're eating and things like that. So ultimately you gain it back. And I did that for years. And I was just tired of being on the yo-yo. I was so tired of not liking myself physically, not liking looking in the mirror, and not feeling good. I had plantar fasciitis. I had restless leg. I was definitely pre-diabetes, and I had the tingling in my feet. Like everything was very uncomfortable. It was even uncomfortable just to get dressed for work. And I'm feeling all this at like 48. And I'm like, wow, this cannot be how this second half of my life rides out. So, I think that so ultimately I just wanted to lose the weight so I could feel good about myself. I had no idea I would put on the muscle that I did or get the definition that I did. I didn't know that part of it was going to be part of the process. And I didn't know I would feel as good as I do. Like I feel like it used to bother me my age when I would turn a year older. And now I just turned 53. In January, it didn't even faze me. And that was like just an amazing feeling. So really, it's all about feeling good. It's about caring about your body. It's about caring about what you put in your body so that you can live the healthiest version of your life for the rest of your life, and there's nothing to go back. If you can change your lifestyle, as far as giving up processed foods, that's really the key to it, is giving up the processed foods, which the food industry honestly makes us addicted to. But ultimately, you have to come to terms with that, and you have to decide, I got to beat this.
So I'm going to play the devil's advocate a little bit here. So with the drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy and all these, drugs. So what is it? How is it different if someone says, well, I want to do that to kickstart it, or let me get skinny first and then I'll do that. Oh, there's Eden in her phone.
Alarms. I always have an alarm set for something. I wonder what it was. I wonder where I'm supposed to be right now, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere but here. But that's a great question though, because it is so in the public eye right now.
And available.
And available.
Yes. And it is the trend. And what saddens me about it is that Ozempic absolutely works. It will let you lose weight very quickly. It is a profound appetite suppressant. However, you're going to lose muscle. You're going to lose muscle faster than you're going to lose fat.
I've seen that a lot too.
And that's damaging, especially for women over their 50s, where we naturally lose 1 to 3% of our muscle mass when we're not using it. So if you're just an idle, not very active, you're usually losing 1 to 3% of your muscle mass every year. So what Ozempic does in the semaglutide other brands is it destroys your muscles. It breaks your muscle down. And so, you're going to get smaller and the scale's going to say what you want to say and your clothes are going to get fit better, but you're going to lose what foundationally makes up your body. And that's why, I don't know if you've heard about the Ozempic face.
And Ozempic butt.
Yeah.
And that to me would turn me off because my butt's already gone way down south.
What's Ozempic face though?
You lose your fat.
You're losing the muscle tone in your face. So you're just kind of left with like this sagging fat, and you actually can become fatter on the inside. You may not look fatter, but you're losing so much more muscle than fat that your proportions or your percentages of fat to your muscle to your fat percentages are off, and you're actually inside fatter. So it's not a long-term solution. I would never recommend it because I have proven myself you can do it naturally. Like I've done all of this with it. It takes time. It takes consistency and it takes a desire to want to do it. But I would not give anything for the fact that I proved to myself I could do this naturally.
Right.
And it's just an affirming thing. It makes you confident. It makes you feel better. Like I don't think I've ever been this confident in my life. Like if I was thinking about this before I came in here, just looking over my whole life, to be like 53 and feel the best I've ever felt in my life and about myself, it's just like astonishing.
Yeah. Was there a rock bottom point?
Yes.
What was it?
It was, I just remember I had just, for 15 years, I can just remember 15 years of just slowly putting on, 4 to 5 pounds a year, but it just adds up. And you look in the mirror one day and you're just like, or you look in the mirror a lot of days and you're just like, this is out of control. But, again, you can make an excuse for anything. And I don't want that to sound harsh, but I had to come to terms with that. But my mother was sick. I took care of her. I have a special needs brother that came to live with me after she passed. And all of those things I could say, that's why I was eating fast food. And that's why I was eating on the run and all of that.
And you were under stress. And I can blame all those things, but ultimately I still made those choices. And that's the hard part. That's the part you have to face. But once I did that, which I did probably 6 months into my program after I lost 40 pounds, I started really going, okay, it's time to really figure out why you put on all that weight, And so I had to become really responsible and take radical responsibility for where I was at. Wow.
So I want to defer to Christine with some more of her questions, and then I have a few more myself, but go ahead.
Well, I'm interested after looking at your Instagram, I am fascinated by what people eat protein wise, because I've been eating a lot more protein and cutting out sugar basically. Yeah. Anyway. Mm-hmm. And so what do you eat? Like, what does a day with Amy look like in the morning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and do you snack in between?
That's a great question. So part of my program is I do a lot of fasting. So it's rare that I eat 3 meals a day. I just don't feel like I need them. And I definitely don't snack.
So is it like keto?
It's keto friendly. It's just that keto is very high fat and moderate protein and low carb. I'm more high protein, and it's just what works for me. It's going to be different. Right. I still eat healthy fats, and I get my carbs from vegetables and fruits. I'm not a big processed carb. Like I don't do breads and pastas and things like that. I feel like I'm so metabolically healthy now that I certainly can eat that, but I'm enjoying the heck out of what I'm eating. Like I am just enjoying the heck out of just the protein and the whole foods.
So what do you eat?
So take us through today, the plan, because I know you have a plan. Planning for you is a big part of it.
Planning is a big part of it. So I typically, I won't eat in the morning. I'll go do my workout at 5 a.m, and then I love working out fasted. It's just because when you if you go a certain amount of time, around 15 hours of fasting, growth hormone will release and you power through your workouts and it's amazing. So I love doing that. So I don't usually eat. And then I go to school right after I get done working out and showered and changed and all. I get to school about 6:30 and literally teaching a 4th grade class. I don't have a second to myself. No. So it's so easy for me to power through, or I'm not even powering through. I'm just busy. I don't even think about food. And so when I get home, usually around 3:30, somewhere between 3:30 and 5, I will make a lovely dish of either salmon or grass-fed steak.
Wait, you didn't eat lunch?
I didn't eat lunch. I just go right through that.
Fascinating.
And that's not for everybody, but that's just, it works for me. And so I'll eat grass-fed steak or some grass-fed burgers. And then I usually will put it on a salad, or sometimes I'll just eat an avocado with it and some eggs. Sometimes I'll just do all protein and fat. And then usually like on the weekend, I'll do more of, I may have breakfast once in a while, but mostly I'm going to go until like 1 or 2 o'clock and have lunch. And again, it's going to be a steak, it's going to be veggies, and it's just going to be whole foods, which is what I love to eat.
So I have one other question. So what about the woman out there that's listening that isn't staying busy all day? She's retired. She works maybe just part-time, because I find when I'm home, it's harder not to keep opening that refrigerator door. I mean,
yeah, that's a great question too. Well, and fasting's not for everyone. Like fasting lifestyle, you have to build that. You have to start kind of ground zero, and you start with a little intermittent fasting, and then you can go longer and longer. But I'm not suggesting that that's for everyone. I do believe in it for fat loss, and I do believe in it for healing your body and just giving your body a break. But if you're not busy, the thing I would encourage you to do is learn more about what snacking does to your body. And the reason we get fat is not from calories, it's from insulin. And no matter what you eat, it doesn't matter what macro it is. If you eat carbs or fat or protein, when you eat something, your spikes your insulin. And what we typically do, and what we are blessed with abundance here in our country. So we've kind of become accustomed just eating whenever we want to eat.
Right.
So grazing all day. And I did it for years, right? You're not even hungry. You're not even thinking about hunger anymore. You're just eating because it's there. But that just keeps your insulin high all the time. And so you have this excess of insulin in your blood, which ultimately is going to get stored as fat because your body can't use all that insulin. But every time you eat, you're releasing more and more insulin. And so that's why you end up with a fat problem.
Okay.
So here's what I want to do. I want to take the other side of it and say, because you have been very adamant that this is not for everyone. Fasting is not for everyone. And in fact, I've heard you say that it's not the only way to go. It's more important what you're eating, right? And what you're not eating than as far as not when you're eating, because I know you're saying don't be the snacker all day long, yes. But the workouts that you're doing, you're putting on muscle, but that's not to say that everybody who goes for a life change like this is going to come out looking muscular, correct. Right? It's not easy to put on muscle.
It's not easy to put on muscle. And I'm very consistent. I'm almost 2 years into this, and I haven't missed a day at the gym yet. And that's not for everyone. I am extreme for sure.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of people, when you're extreme, the sustainability after you're done with looking great and losing all the weight. That's what I think people struggle with. Then they're like, I'm going to have those French fries just today.
Yeah.
I'll go back, and then it's just like the snowball effect.
Yeah.
So what is the sustainability like? Just keeping it high the whole time of what?
I think it's just, I personally love the gym. Like, I find it to be a very mentally, a place to just almost relax, and I love challenging myself. And I feel like going through this transformation, I really just discovered who I was, which I think this is who I'm supposed to be. Like, I feel like I could have been an athlete all of this time, but that just wasn't the road that either my parents pushed me or I pushed myself. I accepted just traditional roles of what a girl was supposed to do. But now I feel so comfortable doing this. But as far as sustainability, the thing about fasting that I encourage people to do is, I understand it's not for everyone. It's a mental thing. Like, you have to think that you can do it. When I called my coach and signed up for this, the first thing I told him was, I'm a lost cause. I'm addicted to food, and I don't think you can help me, but I am tired of feeling this way. This is my last shot. Because I was either going to decide that I was going to be fat and just be fat, or I was going to do something about it. I was very tired of waking up every Monday morning and starting a new diet. And then like Monday afternoon, something bothered me. So I ate something and I blew it. But I did that for years, and I was just so tired of wanting to be better, but not doing enough about it. So I told him I was a lost cause. I was addicted to food. I don't think I can do this. But simply what I did was, by getting accountable with somebody else, because I'd already given up on my own ability to be accountable to myself, I was now paying someone to help me be accountable, and it worked. Like, the competitiveness in me came out, and I never wanted to fail at whatever my challenge was. And I started off with a 15-hour fast or a 16-hour fast, and it slowly got more and more. But what it proved to me was I can control. I'm not addicted to food. I can control food. And so then you start opening yourself up to all the mental positivity that comes with that. And when I realize that I can control this, then I take it a step further and realize what I need to look at food as something to fuel my body, not something to just abuse because it's there. Like, I want to use it to fuel my body, to make me not have chronic disease, to make me not have diabetes, to make me have muscle, so that when I am older, I look at the sweet little ladies in the gym and I'm just like, they are precious, but I don't want to be that. I mean, they're like, some of them are starting at 70, which is great, but you've got a long way to go. Like, you're not going to necessarily get the muscle. So I feel like the timing was just right for me. And for sustainability, so fasting, to get back to your question, fasting is free. It doesn't require any time other than, it's amazing how much more productive your life became, which that was something, because prior to that, when you're planning 3 meals a day, or you're either thinking about it, you're preparing them, or you're going to the store to buy them, and you can eliminate a lot of that and just become a lot more productive. There's a lot of mental clarity that comes with fasting and all of that. So the fasting part is just understanding that you can eat whenever you want. You're not denying yourself anything. You're just delaying it. The food is still going to be there. So if you can get your mindset around that, like, I'm not missing out by just delaying a few hours of eating. So if you can get your mindset around that, then fasting becomes fairly easy. And then this food choices, we don't ask you to restrict. We don't want you to restrict anything. If you want to eat sugar and carbs, you can, but you have to understand that there's a consequence to that.
But sugar, so for me, I found out that was a huge trigger for not weight gain, but just feeling like crap.
Yes.
I mean, and so I did the whole elimination, and then I figured it out on my own that sugar was just, I broke out. I couldn't sleep well. Yeah. My stomach hurt. You name it.
Yeah.
So I think sugar is a big problem for a lot of people, because you like ice cream, and the holidays come around and it's your birthday, and, high sugar drinks, alcoholic drinks. And it was hard, but when you start to feel better, like you said, it means everything. So I think really eliminating, finding out what is causing the inflammation, what is causing you to feel so bad after you eat, because it's always right after you eat something. Like everyone was eating donuts the other day. I said, those look so good. I could eat that whole box, but if I eat just even a bite, I will feel so bad afterwards. It's just not worth it anymore.
Not guilty, but physically bad?
Physically bad. Yeah. Physically bad.
Yeah, and that's because sugar, along with processed carbs, create that insulin. Your glucose is gonna spike, but then it comes crashing down, and that's when you feel tired, and that's when you immediately usually think, I need more sugar, or you reach for the Diet Coke, or you reach for whatever it is that's gonna pump your energy back up. But it starts that roller coaster for the entire day. So that's a big thing with when you do eat breakfast. If you eat a sweet breakfast, which a lot of breakfast is cereal, waffles, pancakes, toast, all of those things, you're starting your roller coaster first thing in the morning. And you're on that all day, up and down. And when I was Fat Amy, like I drank Diet Coke like crazy to get me through the day, because I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm on the roller coaster. So I'm just drinking Diet Coke after Diet Coke, which is also creating more insulin and also putting toxins in your body, which then blocks the receptors that the insulin needs to get in to put the glucose in the cells. Your cells are full. They like when you have a highly processed diet, your cells are just full. There's nowhere for the insulin to go. And that's what causes the storage of the fat.
Wow, this has been fascinating.
It is fascinating. What do you say to somebody listening right now who's like, this is a lot? She seems way too motivated for me. Not a lifestyle that I could jump right into. Is there a halfway? Is it all or nothing?
No, it's not all or nothing. And that's the great thing about this is, again, I'm 2 years in, but we have clients that have just started, and we've got clients that are wrapping up a little over a year and a half, but it all starts off slow. And my big thing is keep it simple. And that's all I did. I listened to my coach. I executed. I didn't try to overthink it. I needed to upgrade my ingredients. I did it one ingredient at a time. I didn't clean out my whole pantry. I didn't clean out the whole refrigerator. I was no longer willing to be overwhelmed by trying to lose weight. I needed to make it as simple as possible. And there's nothing more simple than fasting, because you drink water, black coffee, unsweet tea, and you just don't eat food for a few hours. And if you really think about it, like a lot of times that we think we're hungry, are you really hungry, or are you bored? Or are you nervous, or are you stressed? If you really think about that. So I took it very slow. And even the first 2 months, I didn't even do gym workouts. I just walked. And because I was overweight and I needed to like kind of slow into it. But then once you start getting those results very naturally, which again, I'm very proud that I just did it very naturally. Like, I think that's huge in diet culture, because it's such a negative culture out there to restrict and to just be hard on yourself and try to do it as fast as possible. And the other key to my success was just being patient and just enjoying that process of losing the weight, knowing I'm doing it. What else am I going to do? I'm 2 months in, and maybe I was down 15 pounds, but what else am I going to do? Am I going to go back to eating processed food? It became very clear to me that this was the way forward as far as being very thoughtful about my food choices. And I wanted to keep going in this direction, not go back in that direction.
What are some of the benefits? Let's talk muscle right now, because as we age, you already have said that we lose a few percentage points of our muscle mass regularly. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the other reasons why we need to be thinking about not just going for walks, even though that is a fantastic start, but maybe, picking up some weight here and there?
Well, you want to, first of all, building muscle is hard. And for a lot of ladies feel like, first of all, we're so much stronger than we think we are. So a lot of clients will pick up, like they'll do 10 pounds or 15 pounds. And I know they're capable of doing more, but that's a mental thing that you kind of have to prove to yourself.
But I have to interrupt there. If you're over 50, I'm 61. I mean, what if you have like low back problems or you have neck issues? You can't just go in at 20 pounds. I mean,
no, you can't, but you can progress to that point.
Right.
You shouldn't still be doing a 10-pound dumbbell 12 weeks in. If you're not feeling a burn, that tells you, something. You only are going to build muscle if you break it down, and you have to, if you're not feeling a burn and rep 12 is just as easy as rep 1, you're really not doing anything. It's good that you're moving. I wouldn't say that it's not valuable in some aspects, but as far as like putting on muscle, you're not going to get there unless you overload the muscle.
So one thing I do want to say, this is an excellent time to say this. You should be checking with your physician before you're doing any of this. You should be exercising with somebody who is a trainer or a professional that can tell you if you're doing it correctly,
right? Who
can limit you or encourage you depending on, where you are physically. So we're not suggesting anybody just jump right into any of this. This is just knowledge. This is what Amy did.
Yes.
This is Amy. This is Amy's story, what Amy did.
Yeah. And we're not doctors here.
Right. Yeah. Not one of us is a doctor. But I mean, we can look at Amy. We can see Amy has a 70-pound weight loss. She looks better. She feels better. She's more confident moving forward.
Yes.
You can learn more about her on her Instagram at Fat to Fit Amy P.
Yes.
And you can make these decisions by yourself. You're an adult.
Right.
But this is one more opportunity to learn how somebody has made changes in their life.
At over 50, which is really important. I mean, it's never too late. That's what we say.
Right. That's what we're learning.
Never, ever too late to start
100%.
Losing weight, working out, even if it is small, like walking and lifting 10-pound weights.
Yes.
You're doing something.
You're doing something. And my whole thing is also for the ladies out there that are over 50, if you don't, again, I didn't know I would end up looking like this. This is a product of getting very lean and losing a lot of body fat. That we all have this muscle. You can see it on me because I have leaned out, but you still have the muscle. So anytime you're lifting weights, you're preserving that muscle. So anything is better than nothing. For sure.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. So if you're going to take anything away from this, here are some of the things you could take away from this. You can meet and learn about Amy on her Instagram, Fat to Fit Amy P. And you can make decisions on your own because you're a grown-up and you have access to knowledge, whether it's through your physician, your personal trainer, the internet is a source. It's certainly not the source, the only source. But what we love is hearing stories like yours, Amy, because what you do represent is that we still can completely have a 180 in our life. We can have a second
100%.
act. We can do different things than we've ever done. And there's a whole other aspect to this too. And I know you talk about this on your Instagram that you had to take, and we don't have time, unfortunately, in this episode, but you had to kind of get your friends on board and your family on board. And you say to them, you don't have to do these things, but you have to accept that this is my new reality.
Right.
And that's not easy.
No,
you're in your 50s.
Yeah. Families don't like change.
They do not want change.
Yes.
So Amy, thank you for coming to see us and sharing.
Absolutely delightful.
Thank you
Amy.
so much. I appreciate you both so much.
I mean, and you care so deeply. It's clear that people find their health.
Find their health. And again, you don't have to look like me. You don't have to lose 70 pounds. But if you have excess fat that you want, and you just want to be a healthier person, like you said, in the second act of our lives, like let's write it out as healthily as we can. So that I told someone the other day, I am no longer living. Like I'm actually alive. Like I love that. I am just doing things I never would have thought I would do, but it's because I feel so good. And I'm proving to myself that I'm capable, and I'm not going to let my age define what I can and can't do.
So this is a good time for us to say, because we do have to close the show, but so now you know where to find Amy, and we'll put that in our show notes. Of course, we would love it if you would share our podcast with one friend.
Just one.
We find that that's an easier ask than to say all the other things like subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Just share with one friend. That's the most you can do. Join our ladies only group, Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only on Facebook.
We read everything.
Read every single thing on there. And in the meantime, what we love to say to you right now is whether it's just your mindset or snacking or 70 pounds, you can let it go.
And don't look back.